What's up, homegirls? ¿Qué onda, morras? Buenos días, tardes, o noches, since I don't know when you're listening to this. I hope your day is going good, or at least better than yesterday. Welcome to Te Crees Muy Muy, the podcast para las homegirls who are healing, growing, and figuring life out, sin plan, con flow. I'm your host, aka your Chicana homegirl from Cali, Stephanie, and as always, muchísimas gracias for pressing play and hanging out with me. And your reminder of the day, morra, el tren no se fue, tú vales oro, no migajas. Agárrate las pestañas y vámonos. Now, let's get into it. Welcome, homegirls, to episode 22 of Te Crees Muy Muy podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie. Welcome, bienvenidas. Thanks for stopping by. How's everyone doing? This episode is going to be a little different. I want to be less rigid and go off an outline instead of a script. And in all honesty, the guideline is kind of like how my life is going right now. Up and down with my health, my food intake, time management, and trying to keep up with this podcast and social media. I'm not a huge content creator or an influencer, Obi, and that's okay. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and following the TikTok and Instagram pages. By the way, if you're not following, it's Te Crees Muy Muy podcast. And speaking of Instagram, a revamp is coming soon. I think I'm going to be a little bit more active on there than I am. Pobre página, la tengo bien olvidada, but somehow I have about, I think 30 or 40 followers, which if you're following me on there, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let me go ahead and get started. Obviously I did make a guide, pero not like a script in a sense, right? So ahí les va. I just want to take some time to acknowledge different seasons, different privilege. So what I mean by that is that I acknowledge that everyone listening to this is in a different season of their life. Something unexpected happened and maybe you gained different privileges, or maybe you lost some, algo te pasó. When it comes to maybe yourself, your family, your job, whether you're married or single, have kids or don't have kids, right? Some of you guys have support and some of us don't. No importa, both are valid. Shout out to those who are truly alone by choice or not. I see y'all. Different seasons come with different privileges, like I said. New or old, it doesn't matter. Not saying that in a condescending way, because obviously it can feel really heavy, and that's real. Otra cosa these are just going to be maybe little baby rambles. I don't know. I want to talk about something that has been on my mind lately. I don't watch the news. I don't even have cable or anything like that. Anything that I do find out, it's through social media, right? Through the TikTok or the Instagram, but I'm not really that active on TikTok. I am, but I'm not, right? And I had asked y'all on TikTok if it's a privilege to be able to tune out the news. Some said yes, some say yes and no, and some said no. And I think part of the reason why I think both got answered that way, and I get it, is because sometimes even though our parents or loved ones can watch the news in Spanish, they still rely on us for a lot of stuff like, oye, sí es cierto que, o fíjate que mire, like for example, my dad on his phone, very basic. He doesn't know how to text or anything like that. It's just literally he knows how to go online and research stuff for like Home Depot. If he's looking for like products or Lowe's, o se mete a YouTube, search videos that way and make phone calls. And that's about it. So sometimes he'll get pop-ups of like spam pop-ups and he's like, oh, mira. I'm like, no. Or sometimes he'll be watching hella AI videos on YouTube and he has no idea they're fake. And I'm like, apá, no, eso es inteligencia artificial. He's like, oh, se ve like real. I'm like, sí, pero no la es a picar allí. There's been times that he wants me to order stuff on eBay and it says that unfortunately they can't ship to our like country. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, I'm not sure. Maybe they don't want to ship over here, or the tariffs or all that stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then that's kind of how it goes in my house. My mom doesn't really watch the news. And if she does find out something big, it's because she watched it on YouTube, because my mom listens to a lot of like Catholic like videos and stuff. And they talk about the world news, etc. But other than that, we don't watch it. So I think it is a privilege. But at the same time, no, I'm kind of torn. Because the privilege behind is like, well, eso no me afecta, like not that you don't care, but you're like, damn, that sucks, and you kind of move on, right? Like, for example, a lot of people don't really, let's keep it real, we're selfish people, and a lot of people don't care of what's going on in Iran. They're like, damn, that sucks, pobre gente. There's some people that aren't really well informed. There's a lot of people who are, they feel that they have better things to worry about because in a sense they know that they can't do anything when it comes to war, right? The only thing that you could do in a sense is prepare, and even preparing, you don't really know how to prepare in a sense. So ahí lo dejan in a sense, right? So if that's happening, I guess, with you, is it privilege or, like I said, survival? But I think it's a little bit of both. And everything is more expensive, especially gas, but some people can afford it and move on, and some can't. Some people are going to say, no matter what, yo nada más voy a ponerle 20 bolas and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I can't stress over it. And some people are like, I'm able to afford it. Thank God. But it does suck that the prices are going up. And some people like complain or figure out other ways of transportation, right? Some people see what's happening and like freeze, no saben qué hacer, how to support, and literally just freeze, right? And no judgment. I was just asking the questions to see how you guys were feeling with that. Otra cosa that I wanted to talk about, and some of these topics either require a lot of research, right? Or it's not, how can I say this? Like, it's not, I don't want to say big enough, pero también I don't want to do an episode where I just do a whole bunch of research and I throw it at you guys. Like, here you go, facatela, tampoco, right? But I wanted to talk about something that I think relates to this podcast. Because as you guys know, I had made a video about part of the reason why I don't show my face. Well, not my face, but I don't show myself on social media. I just don't want to get critique. And I've been sick, y'all, for this year will be 10 years, I think, or next year. And I've gone through a lot with like my body and stuff. And I feel like I have a little bit of body what's it called? Body dysmorphia and stuff. Y no me siento a gusto. And the last thing I need is for a whole bunch of men to come into my comments and start talking about that I'm ugly or that I'm fat or torta, etc. And I know that some of you guys are going to be like, who cares, dude? They're just, like, you're never going to see them again. But I don't want to get to there's this influencer that I think I mentioned this in the past that, like, think about it. Like, she had said that she had to, because she started her journey of freezing her eggs, but she had a whole bunch of health issues going on, so she had to treat it and stuff, and she documented it. If you guys are interested, she is from Mexico. She's from Querétaro. I don't know if you guys have heard a podcast called Seis de Copas. You guys need to check it out. They're hella funny. They're cool. I like it. One of them, though, left already. Priscila, la fashionista, she left, but they're going to continue the new season, I believe, in May. So the girl that I'm talking about is Monica Macaco, and her sister Fernanda is also part of the podcast. And Monica talks about like the journey that she's gone through her like health journey to try to be able to like freeze eggs and all that stuff. And she literally just posted this a couple weeks ago. And I think earlier this week or last week, she had mentioned about getting, I think, like the test results to see if she would be able to do the process, I think. But anyways, like, she talks about going to therapy and stuff because her body has changed a lot over the years. She talks about being thin and having pretty privilege like the pretty face privilege, right? And then eventually she gained hella weight. She went through a really, really bad divorce. This isn't like new. She talks about this. And then eventually she gained a lot of weight, and now she has lost a lot of weight and stuff. And she talks about having to like maybe go to like, I think she said it was her that having to go to therapy to be able to develop thick skin because people were going to attack her and stuff because of what she was doing to try to better her health. And the goal wasn't even to lose weight, y'all. It was just for her to be able to see if she would be able to freeze her eggs and stuff. So she talks about it, and that reminded me of like me in a sense that it's fucking dumb, y'all. Like, ir a terapia and be like, oh, hey, give me tools so I can manage the hate. And I was telling this to my mom that it pisses me off because a lot of the times when men comment on other men, it's because they're saying shenanigans, right? But it's like a roast, right? And then girls will chime in, but you don't see girls being mean to men on purpose. It's always men invading, not all men, but always some men, or a man, right? I guess you could say. It's invading women's like spaces. And so what pisses me off is that, well, you posted it online, so it's free game. It's part of the like the internet culture and stuff, but no, you don't have to comment. The fact that you took time out of your day, and I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, it's only a couple seconds, but still. And it's crazy because a lot of those men están casados o tienen novias o que tienen their queen. I talked about this in the episode of why is Latino culture obsessed with fat women, and like you click on their profile and like estupidín, it's not even like private sometimes, and you can see that their mom's fat or their daughters are fat. And I know que you guys no se quieren meter. It's never good que se metan con los chiquillos o las chiquillas, their kids, right? Because they can't defend themselves. But it's crazy because it's like, you're talking shit about a woman, calling her fat, ugly. Look at your wife, bro. If you're calling me a torta, then you're a freaking tamalón, you know? And the reason I'm talking about all this is because when a woman starts a video, not all, but most of them, they start with, oh, excuse the hair, or hold on, let me stop and put a filter. Or, ay, me miro bien fodonga, ay, pues ni modo, acabo de salir del gym, ay, disculpen, or, ay, me veo, oh, jump scare or something. You never, ever see a man do that, y'all. Y ya sé que las mujeres son más criticadas, I get it, but how come men don't do that, right? Men just hit record y vámonos. They never apologize for what they look. Or let's just say, for example, like they were outside doing yard work or something. They look at the camera and they're like, oh shit, I have dirt on my face. Or let's just say they're a painter or something. Like, oh shit, tengo pintura on my face. Let me wipe it off. But that's literally it. And some know that they're like, están como like dirty, not dirty like dirty, but like dirty like maybe, like I said, that we're doing something outside. And they don't care, they hit record. But we do. We hella trip about que lighting, que si me veo bien, que esto y que el otro. Do I look stupid? Because I think this is more of a girl thing, but I think that like sometimes us girls, we feel stupid when we wear certain stuff. It's crazy, but how come like men no se preocupan de eso, right? And like I said, men roast each other, but it's kind of like more playful and then they move on. Pero cuando es mujeres, it's not even like that, right? We apologize because we know men will come into our comments and they do it for us if we don't, in a sense, right? And I think this is a hot take right here, and I've seen other creators talk about this, is that we need to start having the confidence of a mediocre white man. Like, why not? Like, have that type of audacity and stuff. I'm just not there yet because like I said, I've gone through a lot with my body. And the last thing I need is que I make a bomb-ass episode. I did my research and everything. Y que se metan. Like, I always say this, and granted that I wasn't getting really hate, but some of the comments, of course, let me correct that. Most of the comments that I got were for men. And I was like, ugh. So I had done a post about Cesar Chavez, and I thought it was important to talk about that, right? So I don't want to say it went viral, but it got a lot of views and comments for my niche size, right? For the size of my page, because I think I'm about to hit like 3,500 followers. So it's not even that you could say, oh, que tengo hundreds and thousands of followers, right? And then some men were just telling me to shut the fuck up, or someone called me a white liberal. And I was like, what the hell? It was hella funny. Pero like, what's the need for that? And granted, I know that's nothing compared to what other women go through. Like culeras, like, I mean, not them, my bad, culeros, them, that go to their page and call her hella shit. But I'm glad those girls fight back. Like, why are men like that? Like, no entiendo, and it sucks because as I'm recording this and I'm listening to myself, I'm like, I can't believe I'm letting some random ass man que ni conozco, that I'm probably never going to see me again, stop from posting. And also too, I'm not saying that just because I post myself and show myself, like whether it's online or recording these videos, and like instead of being audio, just be como se dice, be visual or whatever, or video podcasts and stuff, that all of a sudden my podcast is going to blow up, etc. But I think it's more for putting a name to the podcast. You guys may be like, okay, cool. Yeah, move on, right? And I'm not saying that I want you guys to like glorify me or anything like that. No, but I think it is important, but I'm just not there yet. In all honesty, a ver, maybe soon I'll just inform, like really introduce myself and me miran la cara and kind of let that, like, kind of get over, not, ¿cómo se dice? Like, get that out of the way and just keep on moving. And because I have plans for this podcast, I eventually quiero traer guests, like I said last time. But I'm just not there yet. I know my editing, I try to do everything in one shot. A veces que sí, y a veces que no, because I start to ramble, or it's fine, but then I start to edit and it sounds super duper choppy. And first impression is everything, because what happens if I'm like, fuck it, I don't care, and I upload it, and then someone really was interested and they heard it and they were like, fuck that, se escucha bien feo. So I am like mindful of that. Anyways, so also too, and this is something that I had written down, but now that we're talking about like cuerpos ajenos, obviously it's never good to be commenting on anybody else's body, right? Because I think we're so conditioned to be like visual creatures that like if you see someone that's hella fat, you're like, damn, that girl's hella fat, even if you don't say it out loud. Or you see a girl that's hella thin, you're like, damn, o que está bien tall or hella skinny or dark or light, whatever. We shouldn't be doing that, you know, and I'm trying to be better at that. Not that I'm hella judging them, but sometimes I'm like, oh shit, you know, eso no es bueno. But at least I recognize it. And I'm like, no, you know, a mí no me gusta que me hagan a mí. Why would I do it back to another girl, you know? I never go online and comment like, oh, you're ugly, you're fat, you do this, you do that. Nada que ver. I've never been like that, porque eso a mí se me hace bien culero. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that there are women who are so brave that they post, and obviously they don't do it to like, they do it to inspire other women to lose weight if that's what you want to do, right? If that's what you like, quieres perder peso, etc. And there's content creators that have been posting for like maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and they've lost a lot of weight. So their community is like pretty big. And they're like, you go, girl. And I remember this, I think she's African American, and she was on the Stairmaster for hella long. I was like, damn, props to her. But she's been doing it for hella long, right? That's part of her content. Like she shows where she started and now where she's at, and everybody was like giving her props or whatever. But then here come all these random ass man that like don't follow her, don't know, and saying that she's lying, that because she's still fat that she can't hang and be on the Stairmaster for that long. And I'm like, for fuck's sakes, you guys, like my dad says when he gets mad, ¿a qué estamos jugando? First, she gets criticized because she's fat, right? Then she does something about it, and then now she's doing something about it, and then you guys are bitching that that's not true. Like, what do you guys want? And I think that discourages a lot of women from posting too, because no matter what, I understand that you're going to get hate. And I understand that people have an opinion and stuff. So if you do upload, if you do become a content creator or an influencer, that's part of the game. And I get it, right? But what I don't understand is like, why do men care so much? And a lot of people are going to be, what I've noticed is that either language, in Spanish or in English, when it's like a fat person, a fat woman or a man or whatever, they're talking about fat phobia, because you can be fat and yourself and still hate fat people. Let's be very clear about that, right? And then you see a whole bunch of men. Once in a while, you'll see women, but you'll see a whole bunch of men saying, oh, she should lose weight por cuestiones de salud. Everybody throws that out there. It's because of salud. Do you know how many people that are skinny or unhealthy as fuck? You know, es gente que no sabe, like, for real. And people, it's not really about health, because if you really did care about health, you would, like, se notaría. Right? If she has like what's that thing called? A GoFundMe, because she's trying to raise money for something. Okay, ayúdale. Donate and be like, here, para que te puedas comprar other options of food. Because there's no such thing as good or bad food. Food doesn't have morals. Hot take. Once again, food doesn't have morals. So there's no such thing as good or bad food, right? Anyways, you guys can comment and you guys can argue in the comments and empieza and go. That's just my opinion though. I got that from a lady who does she does content creation, but she's not an influencer. I forgot what her title is, damn it. And her name, she's Mexican. Raquel Lobaton, I think that's her name. Shout out to her. But anyways, and oh, es por salud, she should lose weight. People don't give a shit. People nada más quieren comentar. So that's something that I've noticed on being online and stuff, but I try to stay away from that type of hate because eventually, like, if you like something, your feed keeps, you know how it goes, your algorithm empieza, and then you just see a whole bunch of negativity and it's like, nah, I don't need to be on this right now. Anyways, otra cosa que quería hablar is that I think I talked about this before, a lo mejor no me acuerdo, but I saw a video about a Chicana. I don't know if she was on TikTok and then she just put it on Instagram or vice versa, saying that we need more positive Latina influencers. She mentioned Itati. I think that's her name, Itati, how saying that, like, you know, she doesn't think that she's a good representation and stuff. I get what she means, but here's the thing. A lot of Latin, and I'm not knocking anybody on this. There are a lot of Latinas who are positive influencers, but a lot of them tend to be in the beauty space or lifestyle, right? I understand that a lot of people use social media to distract themselves, just to take a break from your daily, you know, like lo cotidiano de la vida, I guess you could say, right? Just kind of break. It's not that deep for some people. Some people are on for an hour and that's it. Some spend hours or whatever. You want to be entertained by what you see, and I get it. There are other content creators, but they're just not discovered yet, or they're small. I feel, and I'm not just saying for this for conveniencia, I feel like I talk about important things, but I'm doing things backwards. Usually people empiezan their personal brand. They start doing like vlogs. They start doing maybe like makeup or some other stuff. And then eventually, in a way, kind of like the last step is empezar un podcast because your brand is kind of established, right? You are your brand in a sense. Yo lo hice al revés. I'm starting a podcast and I don't know if eventually I'm going to do like vlogs, like behind the scenes of this podcast or what it truly takes. I don't know if people even care, right? And I feel like I talk about important stuff. My TikTok, I like the way it's growing. I've had a couple viral videos. Oh, I'm not saying hundreds and thousands or even like millions, no, but viral in a sense for the size of my page, right? And it's the random videos that have gone like viral and stuff. The Envidiosa post has, I think it's over 50,000 now, a whole bunch of comments and saves and reposts, which is crazy because I wasn't even going to post it. My intro post, like, welcome to this page, welcome to the podcast, that blew up too. And getting your Latina card revoked. I think it was the first one, like, I'll go first. I'm Mexicana y no me gusta this type of food or whatever. And that shit blew up too, which was crazy. We do exist, but maybe we're talking about stuff that is important, but people don't want to comment or people don't care because for them, it's not that deep. There is this podcast that I listened to. It's called Shits and Gigs, I think. And they're two dudes I think they're in London or somewhere in the UK, no sé. And one of them he said something so true that I was like, because I think they were talking about when they first started or something, they're like regular 9 to 5, right? And he said that sometimes you just want to listen or see stuff that's not educational. It can't be deep all the time. And he says that he remembers that he had a podcast that he would listen to every day on his, I don't know if every day or every Monday or whatever day of the week when a new episode would drop, that he looked forward to it because he thought it was light, it was funny. Like it was just something to distract himself antes que empezar a trabajar. And I totally agree with that. I know that all my episodes can't be deep because that's always been my worry, that I don't want to make it seem like being first gen, that we're always blaming our parents for our shortfalls or our defaults, I guess you could say, right? I don't want to always be sounding negative or that I'm bitching or complaining about something. I want to talk about different topics. Like I've mentioned before, I want to talk about our relationship with ourselves, with food, with money. Why is there hella anti-Blackness in the Latino community? Right? Why us Latinos are united, but we're not united, right? The privileges and not privileges that we don't have, going to college, etc. But I don't know if people care about that stuff. I think that we should. I think in a way we kind of should talk about this stuff because it's important, especially being First-Gen Latina daughters, because we get shit from both sides. Like the Americans, los Americanos, and when I mean Americanos, I mean white people, tell us to go back to our country. And you're like, bro, I was born here. What the hell? And then los que whatever country you're from Latin America, no te quieren because you weren't raised there. Being raised there and going on vacation obviously, you guys know, two different things, right? And so we get shit from both sides. So it's kind of like figuring out, y también lo del Spanglish too. I made an episode already about that, about why people get hella mad that we speak Spanglish. We don't do that on purpose. So that was kind of like my little rant about how we need more positive Latina influencers. I can think of right now, her name is Janice. Her podcast is called Yo Quiero Dinero. Shout out to her. I had a one-on-one session with her because she offers different business stuff. She's awesome. You guys should check her out. And then from there, she has had other guests that you guys could see si les gusta their content and stuff. So not all of us, and like I said, I'm not trying to like start anything, but a lot of us don't do beauty or don't do lifestyle. I don't think I would ever, I mean, never say never, but I don't think I would do like, ¿cómo se llama eso? The lifestyle content. Like I said, we're out here, but we're just not discovered, you know? And that just depends whether, I'm going to keep going, obviously. And it would be cool, like I said, to make this my full-time income. That's just going to take time. Una última cosa that I want to talk about is a dysregulated like nervous system that I feel like us Latinas, especially us First-Gen Latinas, we're always in a hurry. And I did touch on this on the toxic productivity episode, and this is kind of like a little bit more to add. Why do we feel like we're always in a hurry, even when we don't have nowhere to be? I understand that, like, for example, si tienes a descanso in the middle of the week, you're just trying to do shit that on your days off, like you want to accomplish, right? Because during the week you're working or whatever days you're off, right? I understand that. But I feel like a lot of us have built-in anxiety inherited from our parents. And this is where I want to be careful because obviously I'm not blaming them in a sense, but I feel like our parents are always in a hurry, like no se pueden calmar, like they always have to be doing something. And I've noticed this, especially not all, but majority of them que trabajan en construcción or they work with their hands or they're standing all day. So I feel like no se pueden quedar quietos. And I feel like they, especially more my dad, that I feel like he has it, that everything is it's like not an emergency, but it's like a sense of like, si alguien, for example, si alguien te pide un favor, lo tienes que hacer right there and then. And it doesn't work like that, y'all. I had a coworker that he used to say, your emergency is not my priority. And I was like, damn, which is very, very true. And I feel like a lot of that shit rubs off on us and stuff. We try to maximize every moment so we can earn the right to relax. But the relaxing really never comes or really happens. Can't stay still. Like even rest feels like it's something we have to justify. Someone commented on a clip that I had posted that our parents' act of service is their love language. And at first I resonated. I was like, yeah, like that's true, right? But then I thought about it even more. And I didn't comment because this kind of hit me today because everyone's home. Aquí en mi casa, everyone's home. So like, it kind of like, as I was seeing stuff, I was like, oh shit, this hella hits. But the more I thought about it, if acts of service was their love language, then men would be cleaning too. They fix things around the house, but they're asked to help. Like, ven, ayúdame, por favor. Oh, hey, tienes tiempo, ayúdame a poner esto, right? They're not told. For the most part, they're not told, right? I think our parents kind of like some of our parents like skip the phase of asking us y nos regañan right away. Ponte a limpiar or something, right? Versus, hey, ayúdame, porfa. O tienes tiempo, ayúdame. I think sometimes they don't say tienes tiempo. You're just expected to clean. And I'm talking about girls, right? And if you think about it, us, las mujeres, we're told to clean. We're not asked if we're able to help them. Think about that. So that's why I don't agree. That's not their love language. Because maybe some of y'all were going to be like, no, that is their love language because it shows that like if they ask us and we do it, to them it shows because we're doing that we care. Not necessarily. A lot of us just do it para que no nos regañen. But really think about it. The men are asked and we're told. Ain't that a bitch? So anyways, with that being said, ahí les va. This is the end. My bad. I thought I had another one. And I was like, ahí les va. There's nothing que ahí les va. Don't forget El Journal. El Journal is available, link in bio. It's called El Journal de Mis Life Shoulds, okay? And from what I can see, There's no other journal out there that's done like this. This is for us First-Gen Latinas, right? Please don't forget to engage, like, subscribe, be part of the community. Métete, homegirl. I invite you. Como siempre, I hope you enjoyed this episode because I know it was all over the place, y'all. Like, I was jumping from one thing to another to another. But the fact that you took the time to listen to this, I really, really appreciate it. Even if you don't agree on some of the shit that I say, because I know you guys might be like, damn, está como perique, habla un chingo and stuff, right? Hopefully you didn't think it was boring. But yeah, I appreciate it because you had enough curiosity to check it out. And it means a lot to me. Anyways, don't forget to follow the pages on TikTok and on Instagram. Te Crees Muy Muy. And if you're interested in the journal, the link is in the both the bios. I get it. You could get it, through Beacons. You can either get a PDF version or a Google Doc. The Google Doc has the old logo, but it's still the same thing. I have to update it and stuff. Anyways, I'm rambling. I will catch y'all next week. Bye.